Hey, this is Abby Moreau from the Loudoun County Chamber of Commerce for another installment of Behind the Business. Today we're at King Street Oyster Bar in downtown Leesburg with Rick and Jorge, the owners. Hey guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Thanks for having us today.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Glad to have you.
So tell me a little bit about the idea behind King Street Oyster Bar. How did you get started?
So we, I've been in the business for a while, but I was so tired of driving to DC to get great oysters. So I spoke with Jorge and I said, let's start an oyster bar in Leesburg. And, it hit on, it was a huge hit. We didn't know exactly how it was going to end up, with Leesburg and how oysters are going to be viewed in Leesburg. But at the same time, I thought it was a void that needed to be filled in Leesburg. So, we've known each other for a long time, and, he'll go into a detail about that, but it's just been a great run for us so far.
Yeah, so, we've known each other for a better part of 24 years. We've been best friends. In 1998, I think it's the first time that we seriously talked about opening a restaurant, and somehow we just didn't make it happen, and I think that we always regretted it. So this time the opportunity for this location came up, the concept was there, and we jumped in, and we are delighted how it's turned out. I mean, I think that the restaurant has performed beyond what we thought it could do, and it's just an amazing thing.
Yeah, so you guys picked downtown Leesburg because you felt like there was kind of a void here of this kind of restaurant?
Definitely. And we both live in Loudoun County, and we wanted to try to do something right in our backyard that we feel that we could. Also, it's easier to manage versus having it somewhere else where you got to drive a long distance and trying to make it work. So.
Right, and then you are opening up a second location in Middleburg, correct?
We are, yeah, in Middleburg. I think what we look for in a restaurant is that hometown feel. And something that when you come in, you feel like you're part of the family. It's warm, it's inviting, it's exciting, it's a little bit loud. We do have a little bit louder restaurant than most, but it's got a great vibe into downtown. So that we looked at Middleburg, and we thought it would fit perfectly for what we're looking for, and so we should be opening about a little bit less than a month, hopefully.
That's great.
Good to go, yeah.
Awesome. So what kind of oysters are you guys serving here? Virginia oysters specifically, or all over the place?
So we do probably from 12 to 15 different oysters all over the world, anywhere from Canada, the East Coast, all the way down to Virginia, and then the West Coast, California, Washington State. So currently now we have about 12 that we do in-house.
That's awesome. What's the recommendation for an oyster of someone who's a novice oyster person?
So I think, East Coast has a little bit more flavor, a little bit saltier. West Coast is a little bit sweeter. But the West Coast is also a little smaller on the majority of them. And then the East Coast is a little bit medium or larger size.
Yeah.
So.
I think that what we do is we try to mix it up, right? You get flavor, size, and it's so we actually have like 12 different oysters at a time, and we're always rotating, making sure what's new. The waiters are really good. Our bartenders are really good at recommending. Sometimes I come in, I'll say, hey, we'll do dealer's choice.
Yep.
And they'll bring me what they like as opposed to what I order. That's always fun too.
That's awesome. And how do you guys feel about the restaurant culture in Loudoun County? Do you feel like it's growing here with all this booming? Are you excited to see any new businesses coming into town?
I think personally, I think that it is great to have more businesses. We know for a fact that after we opened, several of the restaurants around us and across the street, they have told us anecdotally that their sales have gone up. And we have felt the same thing with other places that have opened here. And we know that they open because our sales just go up a little bit higher. So.
That's great.
The more the merrier type of thing.
Yeah, when we came here, when we looked at this spot maybe 2.5 years ago, there was nothing here.
Right.
And so now, fast forward to now, and you have 5 other restaurants, a couple other breweries that now came into the mix. And then now I think I was somewhere the other day, and the first thing they said was, wow, Leesburg's starting to get on the map with food now, because they didn't have that, 3 years ago. So we're happy to be a part of that.
That's awesome. And the last thing, I know you guys do a special project with the Oysters of saving oysters or helping.
Yes, Oyster Recovery Partnership out of Annapolis.
Okay.
So what we do is we donate our oyster shells that we shuck back to them. They clean them. A scientist artificially puts larvae on them, drops them back into the bay, and each half shell gives them 20 new oysters.
That's awesome.
In the bay, and they filter about 30 to 40 gallons of water through each oyster. And I think the bay, Chesapeake Bay, is on record to have the best production of oysters in probably 10 years.
So people come and eat and feel good about what they're eating.
Right.
Giving back.
That's how we give back to the Chesapeake and what we can do to help out the economy there.
So, well, thank you guys so much for having
Thanks.
us,
We
and we're
appreciate
looking
it.
forward to the new location. And thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.